Hello and welcome to another Miss Alley Cat DIY video. Today I am so excited because Dollar Tree has gotten in some items with cats on them. Yes, you heard me. Yes, you are seeing that correctly on your screen. So of course I had to make a couple DIYs with some of these items. So let's get on into this. So I got this frame from Dollar Tree. I didn't care about what picture was in it, although that is real cute, so I might have to reuse that for something different. But I picked this one up because it has the black frame, and it was the longest and thinnest frame that I could find at my Dollar Tree. Okay, these are so easy, I don't know if I can really call this a DIY, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to. So all you're going to do is you're going to push up the tabs on the whole frame. Just push them all up and then remove the cardboard and the picture that it comes with. Go ahead and set that aside, and go ahead and set the frame and glass aside as well. Alright, so I have a Sharpie, and I'm taking my bag, and I've also got the cardboard that comes in the picture frame so that I know what size to cut my picture. And all I'm going to do is I'm placing my cardboard where I want my image to be, and I'm simply going to outline the cardboard with my Sharpie so that I know what size and what shape to cut out for the picture frame. And then simply I'm just going to take my scissors. It does hurt a little bit to cut this bag, but it will be worth it, and that's simply what I'm going to do. Don't cut the under layer, you want to just cut the top layer. I found that it made it a little bit easier to cut the whole side of the bag that we are working on. Just cut that whole side off, and then it made it a little bit more manageable, and then I cut my shape out. But you could just initially cut that shape out however it works for you. All you're doing is cutting that shape out. And then to finish this DIY, it is so simple. I simply put that picture in my frame. Now if you need to cut off a little bit more, go ahead and do so. I did trim mine up a little bit. Alright, so with the picture in your frame, we're now going to take our cardboard. So before you attach the cardboard to the back of your frame, you want to move this little metal piece that's for hanging your frame. Unless you don't want to hang your frame, that's totally an option. But the frame that I got from Dollar Tree already had little slits to just remove the metal piece and put it in another spot. So that's totally what I'm going to do. I'm just going to push it through that slit, and then I'm just going to tape it down in the back just like they had it before. If your frame doesn't have those slits, you could totally just make them yourself with a razor blade. So now just go ahead and reassemble your frame. And so just put the cardboard in there and push those little tabs down, and you are all finished with this DIY. For the next DIY, we're going to use this cat notepad, and we're not going to use the whole thing, so just a couple of sheets from it. I will also be using this Keep It Simple little frame from Dollar Tree. It's kind of a little bit of a shadow box, and so go ahead and take the shadow box apart, including the glass. Go ahead and set the glass aside. Alright, so now I'm just going to use some black acrylic paint. This is just what I had on hand. You can use whatever black paint you have, and I'm simply going to paint my frame black. Now this took me 2 or 3 coats, but I did that and I let it dry completely. In between the coats drying, go ahead and set your frame aside, and we can work on the inside of our little shadow box. So all I did was I cut off the little image on 2 sheets of the notepad that has the kitties, like you can see there, and then the 2 sheets that I cut those images off of, we want to use those as well. So basically the stripes are going to be our background. So all I'm doing is I'm taking both of those stripes. You want to make sure that, because it's kind of a gradient color, you want to make sure that they're both facing the same way. And all I'm doing is I'm cutting it so that it fits inside of our little shadow box. And then As you can see, I've done the sides. I'm just going to go ahead and bend the paper over so that I know exactly where to cut it, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it on both of these pieces of paper. So now, as you can see, the pieces of paper fit nice and neatly inside of our little shadow box. So now, taking a glue stick, I'm simply going to glue those pieces of paper down to the back of our shadow box. Now you just want to make sure, like I said before, that the colors on the paper match up, because it does have a lighter purple and it goes darker. And so you can put that however you like. I just think that it looks better if they match up and it looks like it's one piece of paper and not two. So yeah, just go ahead and simply glue that to the back of your shadow box. Now, taking the images of the little kitties, you can totally play around with how you want to put these in your shadow box, but I decided to put one on the bottom right corner and one on the opposite side on the top left corner, because I just thought that looked really cute, and it also kind of hid the fact that we put two pieces of paper for the background. And now all you're going to do is simply make sure that your frame is completely dry, but go ahead and reassemble the whole thing. So there you have it. There's my second DIY using this adorable cat pattern. I just love how this turned out. It looks so cute. This next DIY turned out so cute. I am so excited to show you how I made this little frame with just the cat ears showing. For this third and final DIY, you're going to need some Jenga blocks. Now, I ended up using around 14 and I would say about 3/4 of a Jenga block, some E6000 glue, some white acrylic paint, and some black acrylic paint. For this next DIY, all I did was I took a scrap piece of paper from that bag that we used earlier from Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter how long you want it or how square you want your image to be. Me personally, this one I'm doing a longer picture that you can only see the cat ears. So what I did was I cut that shape out, and all I did was took my Jenga blocks and put them around that piece of the bag to figure out how many blocks that I needed. Now, for me personally and the image that I cut out, 15 was too many and 14 blocks was too little. So I had to take one of my Jenga blocks and just shave it down a little bit with a small hand saw. If you do that, just be careful. Obviously, it is a sharp tool. And then that way I knew how many blocks to do. And all I'm doing next is I'm taking my E6000 glue and simply gluing all of my blocks together to make this long frame. Once you've glued all of your blocks together, I think it's a good idea to take a paper towel just to make sure that if any glue smudged on the edges, that you wipe that off so that it doesn't stick to your table and so it's not a bumpy surface. Now, this next part, I suppose, is optional. I'm just taking some popsicle sticks. Doesn't matter how many, I just want to make sure that every point where a block meets is covered with a popsicle stick. That way it can stay together a lot easier. It's a lot more secure this way. And I just glued them all down with E6000. So now I wanted to paint my frame. You can of course paint it whatever color your heart desires. I wanted to do an outside edge of the black, and I began to do that, and then I realized that I wanted to paint the inside white. So I kind of stopped what I was doing, let the black that I had painted dry, and then I began painting the white in the very inside of the frame. I did white in the inside so that my image would really pop, and when I put it up next to my wall in my kitchen, it also would make the image pop just because the wall where it will be is white. So that's why I did that, but you can of course paint it whatever color you want. And I ended up doing a couple coats of this white paint in the very inside of the frame like I'm showing here. And also the reason why I stopped painting the black was because I knew that when I painted the white, I possibly was going to get it on the black, and so if I did the white first, I wouldn't have to worry about it. So now that we have the white paint done, I let that dry completely, and now I'm going back in and I'm painting the black paint everywhere except for, of course, the inside where we did the white paint, and not the back because you won't see that. I'm just painting all of that. I did do a couple of coats of the black, and I let that dry completely. Just a tip, if you see some spots that you had a hard time getting right up to the edge because some of the Jenga blocks are a little bumpy, not like noticeable, but like when you look really close, it can be hard to paint it. You can use a Sharpie to get those really fine parts of the Jenga block and right up next to the edge of your frame. I also used this technique to clean up right next to like the white paint on the inside of our frame. Okay, so now taking that scrap piece of paper, I cut mine a little bit on the large side so that I could show you a couple different ways that you could do this. I think it's super cute to have their little faces kind of peeking through like it's a window. Or you can do what I'm going to do, which is just have their little ears in the frame. So just a couple different options. So I just cut the image a little bit larger than the very inside of the frame because you want to be able to glue your picture to the back of your frame. So it's very important that it reaches the edges of the back. I hope that makes sense, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing shortly. And if you want, you can use a Sharpie to outline the frame and then cut it out that way. So once you have glued down your whole entire image to the back of the frame, you are left with this super adorable cat picture. I think this would be adorable above like a window or a door. Anywhere really, it just looks like they're peeking through, and I just think it turned out so cute. So this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I really do appreciate it. If you liked what you saw, feel free to pounce on that like button and hit subscribe. It really does mean so much, and I hope you all are having a wonderfully perfect day. Until next time, this is Miss Alley Cat DIY signing off. Oh, and if you would like to see even more like this from me, feel free to click on that notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. So until next time, I will talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.